another quarterback that's having a little bit of drama with his team is the one and only Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford was anointed the next Aaron Rodgers after he was traded to LA. He was the media's darling. Everyone decided he was their favorite quarterback after he was traded to the Rams. And then it says this season so far, one of the biggest challenges for veteran quarterback Matthew Stafford that have played him for a long time is finding a way to connect with teammates. In some cases, over a decade younger than him. At nearly 36 years old, Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford admits that he's faced struggle over the years as they've gone by connecting with teammates. And then he says, "I don't know how to lead people that I have no connection with. I have to somehow find a way to connect with them." And then he goes into the story that he had one of the people on their training staff make a collage of faces he didn't know with their names on it. And he's like, every day I'm going to point to it, find a face, and then go up to them and say, "Hey, how was your weekend?"
Weird.
What?
That's weird.
What Tom Brady would literally stay up researching pop culture so he'd be able to connect with younger teammates who did it at the age of 45. Not 36. Aaron Rodgers is still way more hip than you. Aaron Rodgers is like, yeah, I set a new lunch table every day. No big deal on a completely young team with Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, who are superstar personalities that you have to be able to connect with. And then Matthew Stafford can't connect with players 10 years younger than him. It's like, that's like Ben Roethlisberger would get grief for saying some stuff like this, but this is just the most absurd stuff I've ever heard from a starting quarterback. You're just opening like, yeah, I can't connect with younger teammates. And if I can't connect with you, I don't know how to lead you either.
Yeah, you know what? What's funny about this also is that the Rams are a pretty old team.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of the oldest teams in the NFL right now. You got the Aaron Donalds of the world, and you got Cooper Kupps, the Matt Staffords of the world. So this isn't like a Jets situation where a bunch of young talent, you're an old guy coming in. It's like, Matt Stafford, am I surprised by this, though? Not really. I mean, I feel like in Detroit, it was kind of the same. That team was always kind of just not really properly led. I mean, you had some of the bad coaching errors as well. But Matt Stafford, just not being able to connect with his teammates, I feel like this is kind of him hinting before he even says it that he's talking about retirement.
Yeah.
If you can't connect with your teammates right now, you're 36, and you're having troubles with your elbow, how much longer are we going to see Matt Stafford before he retires? This could be the last year of Matt Stafford.
Yeah, because I felt like Stafford was always a guy who's uber talented. All of his teammates would say, hey, this guy's as talented as Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and Peyton Manning. He can make every single throw on the football field. And people are like, okay, well, what's going on here then? So it sounds like his issue in the past is like kind of not being that like quarterback where he's not that leader of a quarterback. He's more of just one of the most talented quarterbacks in NFL history, but he didn't have that extra edge that would be able to propel his team to win games that maybe someone like even like a Andrew Luck had. Joe Burrow clearly has it, the ability to connect with older teammates even. In Joe Burrow's case, Trevor Lawrence coming into the league. So I feel like that's makes a lot of sense when you analyze how his career has kind of gone in the past, when he's come up short sometimes in Detroit. You had Golden Tate, Calvin Johnson, Reggie Bush all on the same team.
Yeah, I can agree with that. So how do you see the Rams playing out the Matt Stafford era? Because they got their Super Bowl, they paid him, and now he's had some injuries. He's a little banged up, and that contract's going to set in this year. Do you keep him? Do you move on from him at some point? What do you think they do with him?
Yeah, it'll be hard to move on because they asked him about a pay cut and restructuring his deal. And he's like, no, don't really have that much longer to play. So I think they strongly advise this year, if he's not healthy in the Matt Stafford that took them to a Super Bowl, they're going to push him to retire. I feel like they're kind of going to like nudge him over to retirement and then try and find their next quarterback next year.
They don't need to.
Maybe suck this year could be the strategy, because if Matt Stafford isn't himself, I could see a point where they're like, all right, not going to contend to a Super Bowl this year. Let's put in Stetson Bennett, our fearless leader, and then try and slip down so we'd be able to trade up for a star quarterback.
That'd be an interesting move. Do you see them in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes, or you see maybe like more like a Drake May or one of the other prospects?
Yeah, I think Caleb Williams is now reserved for either the Cardinals or the Bucks. That's where he's going.
Yeah, most likely. Drake May, I think they could still get, and I believe Drake May is out of USC, or he's at one of the West Coast teams. I know USC is Caleb Williams, but I want to see him somewhere. I want to see the Rams start to rebuild like they should.